conditions. Dr. Began and Dr. Strinden, more than 50 years of combined experience. Call their office to learn more about these dramatic advancements in eye care. Began Strinden Vision, experience that you can trust. It's time for What's Up in West Fargo, and once a month, our good friend McKenzy Olson from Epic Companies stops by, and McKenzy's got a guest with her today. Amy Haas from Epic Companies. Ladies, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Oh,
Thank
good
you.
morning. Thanks for having us.
Amy, good to have you here on the program today.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Thanks for making your time over on a rainy Monday morning.
I know.
Very rainy.
Doesn't feel like August,
Kind
does
of a
it?
gloomy. No, it hasn't for the last
Feels
2
like
weeks.
October, actually.
I know. It's weird.
Yeah, well, on that bright note, let's
Yeah,
talk about
well,
something,
it
something
does.
good. Yeah, so West Fargo is growing like crazy, and Epic Company's certainly been a big part of that with the expansion of the multi-use facilities you've been introducing to the community. McKenzy, start with you. For the residential aspect of these multi-use buildings, how would you describe the types of spaces that people can live in?
The first thought that comes to mind would be upscale. I think that's something that sets us apart a lot from our style of units and other residential units in town. You know, with the mixed use type of living compared to just multifamily, you're also offering another amenity to tenants. It's unique to be able to talk to our commercial tenants as well and be able to say that we have residential tenants that already live there, so it already makes a customer right outside your front door. Our units, and Amy will kind of go a little bit more into this, but a lot of our units are two-story units, and that's something that's a little bit different to the area as well. It has more of that townhome, condo type feeling than a apartment, and it seems a lot of the noise you make is kind of your own when you get into those two-story type settings. So very unique possibilities with the units, and we just always try to set ourselves apart with what we can do and how we can keep our vacancy rate low.
Yeah, Amy, how about that? How unique can these properties be? What can you do with these places?
Well, what I personally think sets us apart from these units, as McKenzy kind of touched on, is we try to make the insides just nice and not like a regular, what we like to call stack-a-shack. We pay attention to our detail. We have a great designer that helps us just really make them upscale and nice for our tenants. You know, she mentioned the two-story units. That's huge. If you have seen our Cheyenne Plaza in downtown West Fargo, they're just like condos. You get up to that fourth floor and it's just dead silent. It's awesome.
Yeah. So when how do you keep on the cutting edge and keeping up with industry trends? You want to be able to offer the same things that another developer might in another town. How do you kind of keep up on what's happening and what's new?
Sure. No, great question. Our staff does a lot of research of what's going on already in Fargo in terms of, what the rates are, what the units have. And then we kind of bring that stuff to our team and say, how can we be better? How can we do one step further? We go on showings of other, complexes just to see what everyone's doing. And our designer is really great. He kind of helps bring some, new trends to our units. So,
McKenzy, is there such a thing as a typical resident in some of these units?
That's another good question. Just the other day, I was kind of thinking to myself, I used to be able to kind of pinpoint somewhat of a target audience. Like, all right, these units were aiming for young professionals, or these units were aiming for that 30 to 40 age range. And now it kind of feels like we're all over the board with where people are at in their life. People are always experiencing something different, whether that's a life change through a divorce. Maybe they lost someone. Maybe their kids are out of the house. So they're like, I don't want to do snow care, lawn care anymore. They're like, let's just move to an apartment, have a lake home. There's so many different types of people and what they're looking for in town that you almost have to cater to everyone. You have to cater to a large audience because you really don't know what type of people are going to be moving in that day and what they're going to be looking for. We also, something that's special about us is we offer furnished units or short-term leasing. And we've noticed that that's been a hit with the hospital. People have their residencies. Right. They're only here for maybe 3 months to 6 months at a time. So we do what we can to kind of cater to different audiences. And it's hard nowadays to just say who our specific audience is. And that's where marketing is kind of a gamble at many times.
Yeah.
So it just seems like people are going through a lot of different things, and you just never know if they're looking for that apartment type living. Maybe they're building a house, you just don't know anymore. So,
Amy, it seems like when our parents, my parents anyway, they're in their 70s and 80s now. When the kids left the house, they just stayed on the farm, stayed in the house. It was just kind of the way things were. It's part of how we were as Americans. Now it seems like there's more of an interest in, let's maybe do something a little different, like McKenzy was talking about. Yeah. It's not the same thing as it used to be.
No, and we see quite a bit of that at our new Pioneer Place downtown West Fargo. I would say that trend is people are moving on to apartments. Yeah. They don't want the lawn care. They don't want the snow removal. They want something small that they can come home to in the winter. And a lot of times what we're seeing is they'll have a lake home that they're at in the summer. So, but like she touched on, we have the age ranges from right out of college up to, a 95-year-old woman, the sweetest lady. So it's hard to pinpoint exactly who we have. It's a good mix.
And I think a lot of small family farms are maybe selling the land, and they grandma and grandpa want to move closer to the kids, and there are less and less younger families now moving onto the farm. So the younger families are here in town. Grandma and grandpa want to move close to the grandkids. They come to town.
Definitely.
These things happen.
And it's not like, I feel like it's just things are changing, obviously.
Yeah.
We see people having kids later in life. So, we have a lot of that 25 to 35 couples living with us as well who, maybe they want kids, maybe they don't. But for the time being, they're happy not having the responsibilities that comes with a house.
Well, it's also nice being close to the amenities, the coffee
Absolutely.
shops, the shopping, and things like that. It's just, you've got more people around you, which I think is a bonus as well.
Yeah.
And who wants to live in a 5-bedroom home with just 2 people
I know.
anymore?
Yeah.
It gets
Got to
lonely.
clean that whole
Right.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's big and it's empty, and you got to clean it all.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
that.
that's right. Yeah. So what can you tell us about the lights project? How's that going?
Yeah, everything with the lights has been moving along quite quickly. I'm sure you've drove out there lately. The parking garage is set to be complete November of 2019, which is, when you think about it, like 2 months away only.
2 months, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. So as we, keep progressing with construction, and hopefully the weather holds out here this fall a little bit, the first building is still set to open January 2020. We'll probably see people moving in around February 2020. And when you get up to that 5th floor and overlooking all of West Fargo, it is such a unique view. It is something, to die for when you think about who's going to be living up there and the units that will be up there. And that's kind of comes to a lot of Amy's role and how she's picked the units strategically for that building, and the look and feel of them and what kind of people will be there. So it's cool.
Yeah, we're visiting with Amy Haas, Senior VP of Epic Companies, and McKenzy Olson, VP of Marketing and PR. Amy, let's continue that conversation. What do you think is the coolest piece of that lights project now that it's kind of coming together?
Oh gosh, I don't know how I could pick just one.
Yeah.
Obviously, the plaza being in between all of these mixed-use buildings is huge. If you go up, like McKenzy touched on, going to the 5th floor, your balcony is literally overlooking what's going to be a stage. So, if there's a concert, some sort of event going on, you have first row seats right there. But, the east side of the building, too, has gorgeous views. West Fargo has so many nice, mature trees. It's just a gorgeous, view on both sides. How I like to describe these type of units, I would say, is vibrant. We work with Michael Betlock at Icon. He's our interior designer, and he kind of helped us create this vibrant, young feel to these units. He really tried to use the lights as an inspiration in terms of the interior design.
We like to call it a live entertainment district. It's really that liveliness, that lights, kind of what keeps people wanting to be around there and what keeps people wanting to come hang out there, park their car and stay there for all day.
What kind of price ranges are we talking about if you want to get into one of those residential units there?
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of range. We have a few different options for units: 1-bed, 2-bed, and then 2-story 2-bed. So anywhere from that 900 to 1,500, just depending on that square footage.
Okay.
Also depending on your view. The 5th floor middle, you see the stage just perfectly. So that's just another huge amenity to, living in, Cheyenne 32.
Now, do you have any condos there where you can buy the condo, or is it just all rentals?
Right now it's all rental. We don't have a plan quite yet for our west building. So we'll see maybe if there's a demand for them. But at this time, the east building, which is set to be done January, February this year, 2020, has the 49 units. And then our south building, which will be about a year from right now complete, we're going to be at 36 units.
Okay.
So try to keep them a little bit different.
There's been a lot of talk in the news circles around town about that we're higher in vacancy rates in some of the big apartment buildings. I'm guessing that this is you hope to stay immune from that a little bit because you're not part of the big, the big boxy apartment building kind of concept here, right?
Yeah, and I'm proud to say that Epic is 97% full out of our 401 units. So McKenzy leads a great team searching for those tenants. We don't wait for them to call us. We reach after them. And we have so much interest in a complex like this. There's no other place like this in town. So people want to be where the action is. So we're excited.
When we did the research on what we can offer and how enclosed the space actually is with the parking garage, the commercial, the skyway that connects all of the buildings, and the unique living, it's like there's not really anything like this in the tri-state area that we could find that was like this. So it's just something to be proud of and something to look forward to. And as you know, we're still looking for commercial tenants, of course, because we want to be able to keep that customer base of retail. We want everyone that lives there to be able to obviously have options as well. So
I know part of what you try to do at Epic Companies is align yourself and work with different events going on in the community and try to just kind of help the civic spirit there. Anything coming up this fall that you're kind of getting involved with and trying to shine the light on?
So we work closely with West Fargo Events, and they're the nonprofit organization in West Fargo that puts on different events. One thing that they've taken to this summer is acoustic nights at the POW MIA Plaza. They've also been very involved with the cruise nights and the West Fest, things that already West Fargo does, but they're trying to come up with new creative ideas. They've had movie nights the last few Sunday nights, which has been a hit. And now going into this fall, they're planning a bunch of different events, such as tailgating events, especially for the away buys and games, because we've had quite a few crowds for that last year, and this year it'll just be more organized. They'll have different food options out there. And they're also planning Halloween events. So they'll have a different Halloween kind of trunk and treat thing, working with the different businesses. The Downtown Business Association is actually kind of back alive again and coming back together in downtown West Fargo. So that's exciting to see. And as Thunder Coffee opens, as we start planning our Pioneer Open House for October, West Fargo Events is kind of hand in hand able to work with us and make sure that we are still bringing that community aspect and keeping people wanting to come down there and be involved.
What about for West Fest? Is there anything going on in that area?
Oh, there's always things going on for West Fest. I'm like, I can't even think right now. I mean, yes, they close down all the streets and they have vendors, they have live music, they have stuff for kids. It's really exciting. And West Fargo Events is also going to be managing the Lights Plaza space as well. So they've already been actively planning for next summer. June 1, there's going to be events there. Multiple different events, whether that's a vendor show, whether that's marathon events, whether that's concerts. There's just going to be so many different things that it can be programmed for that the options are kind of endless at this point. So they're getting really excited to kind of get rolling with that as well.
All right. Before we let you go, rumor has it you're working on another project south of West Fargo, too. What can you tell us here?
Some of you may have seen a sign for ours up in Horace. So right now we're in the beginning stages of developing a project down in Horace. So you'll have to kind of stay tuned, but it's kind of exciting with Horace Bean Days coming up. That gets people out in Horace area to driving around. So we've gotten a few calls on our sign and what we're doing there. And hey, it's just kind of an extension of Cheyenne Street for us. So we have a lot of things going on Cheyenne Street nowadays.
All right. Well, we'll have to have you back to talk more about
Absolutely,
it. Ladies,
yeah.
thank you for coming by. Great to have you in studio today. Hear more about it. Amy Haas, Senior VP of Epic Companies. McKenzy Olson, VP of Marketing and PR of Epic.